Hello, trust you're doing great. Our topic today is mass protest and June 12th. Mass protest and June 12th. That's our topic today. In this topic, we are going to be looking at the history of June 12th in Nigeria. June 12th is about the presidential election on June 12th in Nigeria in 1993, which involved Chief MKO Abiola. Then we're going to be looking at the meaning of protests, the meaning of riots, the difference between the two. And another important question is, who annulled June 12 elections in Nigeria? So in this topic, we'll look at the history of June 12 presidential election of 1993 and who annulled the June 12 election in Nigeria that sparked off protests in 1993. First, let's look at the meaning of protest. Yes, mass protest. Mass protest, this is when many citizens of our country protest at the same time to put pressure on the government to do what they want. So we say that mass protest is when the citizens of a country protest at the same time to put pressure on the government. So when you have many citizens protesting at the same time, that is called what? Mass protest. The image before you, you can see a group of citizens protesting, okay? So that is what? Mass protest. Now, let's look at the June 12, 1993 presidential election. What happened? We're going to take the analysis one after the other. So we say June 12, 1993 presidential election. Look at the image before you very carefully. The man at the middle is Chief MKO Abiola, the winner of the June 12, 1993 presidential election. Then the two military officers by his sides. The one by the left is General Babangida, while the one by the right is General Sani Abacha. They are military officers then. So let's go on with this history so that you come to terms with what actually happened in June 12, 1993. First, the last mass political protest in Nigeria had to do with the June 12, 1993 presidential election. At the time, Nigeria was under military dictatorship led by Ibrahim Babangida, that's the general at the left. Okay, Babangida is the man at the left. He had been in power since 1985. So from 1985 to 1993, he conducted that election. Okay, that's about 8 years. So in 1993, Babangida finally agreed to organize elections so that Nigerians could have a democratically elected government because as at that time, from that 1985 that Babangida was in power, he was ruling Nigeria under the military rule. Now, let's look at the continuation of the history of June 12, 1993 elections. The image before you, you can see some voters and the box in which they are casting their ballot is called neck. So the people that were the body in charge of elections in Nigeria as at that time is known as neck. Okay. Now in Nigeria we have the INEC, Independent National Electoral Commission, but the neck is the National Electoral Commission then. Okay, but now we call the Independent National Electoral Commission. So that was what they had then. That's an iron steel box. That was what they were using then. Okay, and people were casting their vote. The security personnel are surrounding the voters that are casting votes during that June 12 presidential election. So the election was actually held in June 12, 1993. We had two political parties that were involved in those elections. The first was the XDP, that's the Social Democratic Party. The second was the NRC, the National Republican Convention Party. So these two parties were the political parties that conducted, that were involved in the presidential election. So the election result shows that the XDP candidate, Chief Moshood Abiola, formerly or often called MKO Abiola, won the election because the results were being pasted in Abuja, okay, in the NEC office at Abuja, that he was actually leading in the 19 states out of the 30 states that Nigeria had then. However, in June 23, that is on the 23rd, the election held on the 12th of June. Then, few days after, okay, say like 8 days after, that's on June 23rd, President Babangida cancelled the election, saying that it had not been free and fair. So when we say that election result is cancelled, we say it's been annulled. So annulment of election result means that the result is being cancelled. Now, Nigerians didn't take it very lightly. People went on the street protesting that they are tired of military government and they needed a civilian and democratic rule. So let's see what the foreign observers had to say as regards June 12, 1993 election. Again, the image before you is that of Chief MKO Abiola, the actual winner of the 1993 June 12 presidential election. But foreign observers did not believe the elections were not free and fair, as announced by General Babangida. Okay, so they believe he didn't want to step down from his position as president of the country. So it made the people very angry and unhappy because they were tired of military rule. Nigerians were tired of military rule. So let's continue with the history of June 12. Okay, now you look at this clip, it's on the history of the presidential election. Okay, so General Abdul Salam Abubakar.
12 1993 presidential election was conducted by the Armed Forces Ruling Council, headed by General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida. The election was contested by two main parties, the National Republican Convention and Social Democratic Party. The flag bearer of the NRC was Alhaji Bashir Tofa, while the SDP candidate was philanthropist Abiola. The election was generally free, fair, and devoid of any violence or malpractice. On June 21, the military government annulled the election without any valid reason. In the annulment sparked protests across the country. Then General Babangida handed over to the interim government Chief Ernest Shoneko on August 23, 1993. Then General Sani Abacha eased out the interim government and he took over power by coup. After waiting in vain for the recognized winner of the election, Abiola, he declared himself as president in Efe, Lagos State. And Abiola was later arrested and put under house arrest in Abuja. Abiola remained under house arrest until General Abacha died in 1998 of a mysterious circumstance. Then General Abu Salam Abubakar succeeded Abacha, and the nation hoped for the release of the actual winner of the election. Then in 1998, after Abacha passed away, a month after, Chief Abiola died under mysterious circumstances. The nation was thrown into mourning, and Abiola's death put an end to his ascension to power. General Abubakar conducted another presidential election that brought into power Chief Olusegun Obasanjo on May 29, 1999. For years, those at the forefront of the June 12 struggle demanded that Chief Abiola be honored and then June 12 recognized as Democracy Day. Then President Goodluck Jonathan on May 29, 2020 to honor Chief Abiola by naming the Unilag at the University of Lagos University, which was rejected. Then on June 12, 2018, President Muhammadu Buhari honored Bashiru Abiola, then his running mates, then Babangida Kingibe, and then Gani Fayemi gave them a national award. And the federal government announced that every June 12 will now be Democracy Day.
Okay, that was a sad one because the election was actually conducted in 1993, and because MKO was not declared the president, he waited for some time. He now went to Lagos to announce himself president. Then Babangida, then as the military head, He was angry, claiming that he wanted to top the government, okay? And that was how he was detained for house arrest, and he stayed there till 1998 when General Abacha, Sani Abacha, died in 1998 mysteriously. 1 month after that period, MKO Abiola died in prison, and the nation actually mourned for him. And the hope of him becoming the president of Nigeria was dashed off. Okay, you could recall too from this history that Shoneko was topped over by Sani Abacha by coup. Okay, so General Sani Abacha forcefully took over government from Ernest Shoneko, the interim governor that General Babangida had to put in so that he could step down and calm down the pressure of the protesters. Now, MK Abiola had campaign jingles that were on air on the radio at that time. So let's listen to those campaigns that were on
Sure.
air. So let's listen to the campaigns that were on air as at that period when Abiola was campaigning for his elections. Okay? So the MKO Abiola jingle.
Nigeria on the march again. On the march again. Looking for Mr. President. On the march again. MKO is our man. Now you go make our country better. For progress and a better tomorrow. Make you vote for her, oh my brother. And I still make you vote for her, oh my sister. Everybody make una vote for her, oh. Now him be our only hope, oh. I say now him be hope for tomorrow. On the march again. On the march again. SDP the people's choice. On the march again. MKO is the man. Now what for this life, oh, now so palava. I tire for this problem, I tire for life, oh. Guinea, no work, no food, no house, no light. No water, then they bring us so dirty, they pull am. They see more money, I they get now social transport, they chop am. School, na headache, hospital, no work. I tire for life, oh. My brother, waiting you they think, oh. My sister, help don't come, SDP, MKO, Kinibe, action, MKO, Kinibe, SDP, no press. Abiola na the logo, SDP na the party to solve our problem and better our life. Oh. MKO, 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 action. Abiola, Abiola, Abiola.
Okay, so that was the jingle that was playing on air during the campaign in 1993 by MKO Abiola. Okay, people were listening to it on air. They wanted a new change of government. So let's look at the effects of the annulment of the June 12 election. Let's look at the effect of the annulment of the June 12 election. Now, the image before you, it's Omo Yele Sowore, okay? He's the man behind the hashtag Revolution Now. He was actually arrested recently, but was released by the federal government, okay, from pressures put from the US, that is United States. He is the founder of Sahara Media, okay? Then back in University of Lagos. He was the president of the Student Union government. Okay, so in 1993, when the election result was cancelled by General Babangida, Sowore with other students, they were protesting seriously, okay, against the ills of the government of this country and all the injustice that was done to June 12 cancellation. Okay, so we said that the effects of the annulment of June 12, 1993 election include: in Nigeria, the civil society organizations agreed to protest together. Okay, members of the civil society, all the trade unions, all the unions in Nigeria, they agreed to actually protest against the cancellation. Then the lawyers, they stopped working because of the cancellation of that election result. Then the university students left their classrooms and went on the streets to protest, just like Shomore and other members of the school and other universities. The market women left their skills to join, and the protest was actually a mass protest. Then the protesters turned into riot, and some people were killed. Protests, like we said, when a group of people come together to okay, say what is against their wish. Okay, but riot is more of a disturbance. Riot is more of a disturbance in the society. So these were the effects. The protest was on a mass is it's really large, because a lot of citizens came out to say we don't need a military rule, we wanted a democratic rule. So that was what happened. Those were the effects of the annulment of June 12, 1993 election. So let's look at the meaning of riot. What is the meaning of riot? So riot is when a large crowd of people who are angry about something get violent. They get violent, they start destroying things, they injure people. Okay, properties are actually destroyed during riot. It's very different from protest. Protest, people just march and then they vent their anger. Okay, so we said that riot is when large crowd of people who are angry about something get violent. People are usually injured and properties destroyed. So the government they used force to try and control the protest and riot during the June 12 cancellation, but it actually failed. So Babangida was forced to step down on August 27, 1993, okay, because the riot was becoming something else. They were burning houses, people were dying because of that cancellation. So he stepped down and had to put in an interim government. Interim means for the time being. So the interim government was led by Chief Ernest Sheneko, okay. Then Sheneko was overthrown by coup. Coup means to forcefully take over government, especially militaries are the ones that are always involved with this. So Sheneko was overthrown by General Sani Abacha in November. So Sheneko was put in August, okay. After 3 months, General Abacha took over government by coup. So MKO Abiola was put in jail, where he eventually died in 1998, because General Sani Abacha mysteriously died in 1998, a month after MKO Abiola died in prison. Okay, and that was how the hope of restoring him to becoming the president of the country dashed off. So let's see the difference between a protest and a riot. The image before you is showing a group of people protesting. That's a protest. Okay, riot is more on the bad side, where people burn things and destroy cars, and people even lose their lives often. So a protest is a peaceful public display of displeasure or disapproval, usually carried out by marching, chanting, and or holding signs with messages on them. Okay, like you see these people saying June 12 lives on 20 years after. You understand? So that is it. That is a protest. While riot is a violent public disturbance, okay? So protesters march, while people who go on riot, they destroy things and they make everywhere become so unbearable. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari in 19 2018 decided to 2019 decided to honor Chief MKO Abiola by making June 12 Democracy Day in Nigeria. Before now, Democracy Day in Nigeria used to be May 29, but to honor the Yorubas, to honor MKO Abiola and Nigerians, President Muhammadu Buhari 2019 decided to make June 12 a public holiday. That's a Democracy Day in Nigeria. So this particular day, every June 12th in Nigeria, henceforth, will be celebrated as Democracy Day in Nigeria. So it's no more May 29. It's now June 12th of every year. Okay, thanks for watching this video. Please, I will encourage you to always put down and note some points down, because often when you're going in for external examination, some of these points are being asked. The winner of the June 12th, who cancelled or who annulled the June 12th presidential election. And please ensure to use portal features for your questions. Okay, any question you have for this topic, please, I will be very happy and glad to receive them, and I will give answers to them appropriately. Then you do your assignment and try to be good. Love you and see you in next class. Thank you.